Welcome all. In these uncertain times, we trust that you are taking all the necessary preventive measures, such as social distancing and wearing a mask when you do go out. There are additional things that we can do to help ourselves and to build strong emotional and physical resilience. We can do this by being proactive, adopting wellness habits, all of which will go into building a strong immunity, which in turn will help us deal with life situations and circumstances beyond our control. The purpose of the support group, as you all know, is to encourage adoption of wellness best practices. Knowing is power, and learning to do is superpower. My passion is healing and adopting wellness practices. Towards that goal, each week we learn wellness habits from experts and then we practice adopting them. This far, we have covered four important aspects for a strong physical body: being conscious, optimal sleep, 7 to 8 hours a day, along with the circadian cycle, nutritious diet, and of course, yoga and exercise. However, we all know that if something is bothering us or we have an emotional conflict, it interferes with our sleep, our overall wellness, and throws us off balance. So, what can we do? Well, today, uh, let's explore our emotional wellness. And for emotional wellness, this model of wellness iceberg that you can see on the screen now is that we see the tip, the physical part, but underlying that is emotional, intellectual, occupational, social, spiritual, and many more aspects. Now, let me present Amy Bernstein. She is the president of Open Mind Adventures. She specializes in breakthrough coaching, developing collaborative teams and cultures, and mindfulness in action training. Her methodology liberates people from limited mindset, behaviors, and energy habits, enabling them to take exponential leap in their professional and personal development. Amy works with people and organizations in helping them develop self-mastery, build powerful partnerships, well-being, and high performance while raising their states of consciousness. Her approach is a blend of energy, principles, and practices of Aikido, psychology, meditation, and neuroscience. Amy has a long list of organizational clients and also has a private coaching and training practice. So I can keep on going, but here is Amy.
Hi, Dinesh. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Amy, today our topic is emotional wellness, which is a key to building a strong overall wellness. And I always say that without emotional wellness, it is very difficult to have physical wellness. So, we want you to share, to start with, what do you feel emotional wellness is all about, and how one can prepare for emotional wellness, especially in these uncertain times where people are very worried and anxious. A lot of people are extreme, much more than usual share of anxiety and worry, and their body releases a lot of cortisol, and it further lowers our immunity. So, what can people do to tackle with this fear and anxiety in particular, and in general, create the emotional wellness?
Okay. Well, the things that you called off when you started: sleep, nutrition, meditation, exercise, good support system, all of that is going to help. And if you do that, you know that it does help. But it doesn't help, in my experience, well enough, because you can't be doing yoga poses in between virtual meetings. And even if you're meditating and you're feeling really good, and then your wife comes in or your child comes in or something happens, you get another robocall or whatever it is, are you still in the Zen zone? The answer is no. We get triggered and we get reactive, And that's just to be human. That happens. The key is, how fast do I come back to a center? So I'm a psychotherapist, that's how I was trained. And I certainly learned about all the emotions. But after training for 40 years in the energy principles of Aikido, what I really recognize is that although my emotions reflect my soul at that moment, I am not my emotions. I'm much more than that. So your emotions oftentimes are connected with your conditioned tendencies and your software program. Your software program is your mind, your personality type. And that software program plays over and over and over and over again. So if your spouse says something that you don't like according to your particular conditioned mind, you're going to react to it, okay? What we need to do is get out of our minds and into our mind-body energy fields. We got to stop believing everything we think. See, we all want to be right. and when we hear our conditioned mind saying the same things over and over and over again, we think, of course, we're right. But instead of trying to prove that we're right, let's take a deeper dive. Let's do a deeper inquiry. And that occurs when you go into the mind body. Everything you think, all those conditioned tendencies are actually in your mind body. They're in your cells and your muscles and your nervous system. So you are reacting quickly. It happens very fast. What we want to do, though, is recognize that particularly in this pandemic, this is a time of evolutionary change. This is a time where we have an opportunity to shift into a finer dimension of ourselves, a finer version of ourselves. So the first step is to go from the mind to the mind-body energy field. When you go into the mind-body energy field, that's where perceptions are available, your emotions are available, your sensations are available, and your intuition is available. I recognize, by the way, that everything that is happening to us at this time, to me, during this pandemic, is a life lesson. It's not a life sentence, and that what is happening to me is for my greater good. So if an emotion comes up that grabs me, I get angry, I get scared, I get anxious, I get sad, whatever it is, okay, instead of indulging in it, yes, I need to feel it, I need to acknowledge it, but instead of indulging in it, I ask for what's deeper, what's underneath that, what is the root of it, okay? So my formula for change, skillful action, is self-awareness plus here-ness or presence, being in that moment, equals that skillful action. So on an awareness practice, you may want to take a look at, if you have a pattern of depression, if you have a pattern of going into fear, right? To begin to question that, where did you learn it? And ask yourself, based on your beliefs, are they true? Most likely they're not. It's just you were taught that stuff. It doesn't mean it's true. Secondly, you need to go into your body and sense, feel how you operate. What is your norm? Okay. So if you would play with me for just a moment, right? And to sit up tall and to put the top of your head, the crown of your head, make it parallel to the ceiling, and close your eyes for a moment. Let them sink into their socket. And what I'd like you to do is to open your mouth just a little bit, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Imagine you have a big beard on your jaw so that you begin to relax. And imagine there is a center, something vertical, up, down, goes above your head, goes all the way down through your body into the ground. We call that center, okay? Now, from that center, I want you to sense, feel how much energy or how much attention you have going in front of you, sensing how you're aware you are of what's in front of you. No judgments, no stories, just notice how aware you are. How far out do you radiate? Now from that center, bring your attention to the back of you. Notice how far out you radiate in the back. Are the two equal? No judgments, just notice. And when I say notice, I don't mean notice with my head. I mean experience. Actually experience. Now feel from that center, the left side of you. How much energy goes through the left side of you out into the field on your left? How far out does it radiate? Now notice from that center, how far out does your energy radiate on the right side of you? Are they equal? One more. From your center, which is that place a couple of inches below your belly button. I call it the hara. You may know it as the Tantien or the center of gravity. But from that place, a couple of inches below your belly button, feel up your torso to your head. How awake, aware, how much do you experience in the top part of your being? Are you present here? Now from that center, notice the bottom part of your body, your legs, your ankles, your feet, your roots underneath the ground. How aware are you of the bottom part? Is it equal to the top? Okay, and if you would slowly open your eyes, very, very slowly, and come back into the room. If you were like most people, you probably experienced that it was not equal. You may have noticed more in the front than the back, or more in the back than the front, more on one side than the other. These are conditioned tendencies. In modern life, what we are called to do is to stay in our awareness, in our ideas. Modern life keeps us in our heads. We want to take that elevator down. We want to be able to be settled in the ground. So as you say, to stand on your values, to really understand what others think. Okay. So this is your starting place. Whatever imbalances you have, no problem. Everybody's got them. That's your starting place. Okay. But that offers a path to come into a deeper relationship with yourself. The first part for me in coming into a deeper relationship with myself is to recognize that I am an energy being living in an energy world. Okay. And that there are certain universal laws that are in effect. I recognize that when there's a job or task to do, energy comes into my system to help me do the job. If I open and align to it, I experience aliveness, high performance, joy. If I close down to it, if I become small and contracted, I'm going to feel fear, anxiety, maybe get angry, maybe get depressed, right? But my sense of well-being will go away. So when I come into my body, if I'm willing to come into my body, I'll start noticing, where am I open? Where am I closed? What are my patterns that I have in dealing with this energy? The energy that's coming into your system, we call it pressure, but it's actually the energy of change coming in to help us do whatever we need to do. Let me stop here. Am I making sense for people? Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. And I would encourage people in the chat box. As you know, this is a very interactive and experiential program. So we would want people to put their questions and comments in the chat box that we can keep answering on the way. So Amy, I think what you said, you actually gave us a practice. And when we are feeling extremely fearful or when we are anxious, what are the couple of three things maybe if you can suggest, like what you just described, the energy exercise and just taking an assessment if I'm present and what is the energy around me, and feeling in all the dimensions. And would you, when we are really caught up in worrying, then sometimes we don't remember to do anything. And, we are breathing very shallow and we are sweating and worried for our life. What is your recommendations? Couple of three practical things which people can do right away to stop that cycle and come back to their present moment. Yeah.
The traditional ones is take a breath, right? So
Mhm.
if everybody would for a moment, take a breath up the body, up the torso, and exhale down the back, letting the energy move down the spine, down the legs, into the feet, into the ground. It's like, see, when we get anxious, what happens is everything comes up. Everything in the universe is a two beat. The waves come in, the waves go out. Man, woman, day, night. Here we get anxious and we stay there. What we forget is the second beat. And even though the exhale has stopped, keep sensing, tracking that energy going down your legs, into your feet, into the ground. I call this settling. You want to settle your energy, go with gravity. Okay. So there's a couple of tricks, tricks of the trade, right? So one of them, besides for breathing, is to get really good at sensing your back. Because when we get upset, we come forward oftentimes. As soon as you start sensing your back, you'll feel supported. Just like the spine is the thing that supports the physical body, the energy field in the back is the thing that supports the whole system. So if you would, for a moment, bring your attention to your back and allow your back to soften and surrender. Now sense, feel in back of you. What does that energy field feel like to you? Not what do you think, not what do you visualize, but what do you actually experience as you put your attention into that field? So for me, it's kind of like floating on water. You know that feeling of floating on water where the water has you? It's supporting you, it nurtures you, it sustains you. That energy field in back does the same thing. Without it, you feel lonely, you feel unsupported, you feel scared. Some people say, oh, it feels like pillows, like I can just lie on those pillows. For me, it feels like angel wings, big, wide angel wings that are coming from my shoulder blades out past my physical body into the field. You might want to try that. Sense, feel your own angel wings. Big, wide angel wings. And as you feel those angel wings, how does it shift your experience of your body? Now, my experience is it makes me more spacious. I open up. I have more of a sense of this circle in back of me. I feel freer. That's my experience. What's your experience? Whatever you experience is correct. That sense of back is always there. So when you get caught in what's in front, or you get caught in your head or that upbeat, you want to take that breath, let everything settle, and then sense, feel the back of you. Play one more. Imagine, pretend you have a dragon tail coming from your lower spine, resting on the floor behind you. Big dragon tail, iguana tail. As you really experience that, do you notice your energy beginning to settle into the chair? What's it like to have this big tail? It's almost like a third leg behind you that's supporting you. Sense, feel your butt on the chair. Your thighs, the back of your thighs on the chair. Allow yourself to just sink into the chair. Nothing to hold up, just settle into the chair. Let your energy begin to spread into the chair, just like chocolate pudding. Or get the sense of a big sumo wrestler or a Polynesian mama, something heavy, just sinking into the chair. Go one more. Sense, feel your feet on the ground. Imagine, pretend you had big elephant feet, big, wide, thick, heavy elephant feet. Sense, feel your toes getting longer, energetically, of course, not physically, but energetically longer. Like energy is moving out through the toes into the field in front of you. Sense, feel the underside of your feet, your soles, your heel, your toes. And let yourself really feel the ground. These big elephant feet, feeling the ground. Last one, just like a tree. Big oak tree has root system, and the root system supports it in the hurricane winds. You too have a root system. Sense, feel your roots going deep into the ground, 360 degrees around your body, under the ground, supporting you. Big, wide roots, stretching out in all directions, 360 degrees around your body. Now, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. But when you do, I want you to open them very slowly. And whatever you're feeling right now, I want you to bring that sense of presence into the room with you. So very slowly on your own time, begin to open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Amy, for sharing those beautiful, practical ways of getting out of that state. Now, let me
Yes,
go.
may I say one more thing?
Sure, sure.
Yes. Why I'm bringing you into your body is for you to get out of your head, and why I gave you metaphors is for you to practice during the day. See, Bruce Lee says, we do not rise to our expectations, we fall to our level of training. You need to practice, practice, practice. So I was working with the CEO of a construction company who was always running around and always getting nervous and feeling that buzz. And what I did with him was I said, feel your elephant feet. So when he'd step out of his car, he would step out with elephant feet. He would walk slower. He would get to the meeting, he'd be more present. You know, he wasn't late, he was just more here. When you have an emotion, it's good to feel it, to take a look at, why am I feeling this? What's the history of that? To have some self-awareness around it. But ultimately, what you need to do is shift away from the emotion. Take that depression and put it out here. Take that anxiety and bring it there. The fear that you're feeling through the pandemic can feel like a monster. You want to embrace the monster. The monster is just energy, and it's here to help you shift into a bigger, more evolved version of yourself. So you need to change your thinking about that energy, that monster, that fear, to welcome it, to take a deep dive in, let your energy settle, and then to begin to spread, to begin to get wider, to open up. Can I do one more? Are we almost done? Can I do one more little practice?
Let me just have one question before you do that. But before, I want to go a little more deeper. So, okay, let's say I'm over my fear, and this helped. Now, the second most important thing is in emotional wellness to understand and accept our feelings and understand and accept other people's feeling, having collaborative relationships with your family members, with your professional colleagues, and so on. Now, what happens that people are stressed out, so it's getting difficult to maintain those relationships. At the slightest thing, it's getting difficult to accept other person and their feelings, because I'm not in my center. I'm kind of concerned or worried. So what advice would you give for people in this? How can we work on our relationships? How can we accept other people, other events in life which are beyond our control, and still maintain our emotional wellness?
Yeah, you know, it's the old, you got to put your own air on before you help somebody else. You got to come back to center yourself. It's easy to point the finger at somebody else. They're emotionally out of sorts right now, okay? But that's having an effect, an energetic effect on you, whether you recognize it or not. So the first thing you want to do is come back to you, sense, feel you. Now, there's something called contagion theory. You all know it. You walk into a room where everyone is negative, you feel drained. You walk into a room where people are uplifted and happy, you feel happy and uplifted, right? So you can get caught in your spouse's negativity. Don't. Come back to you, center, ground. You're going to open up your energy and you're going to radiate. You're going to be fine. That's your first job. You got to be fine. Your spouse, whether they recognize it or not, is sense feeling that energy, that wellness in you that will have an effect. Now, while your spouse is going on with whatever, don't try to have an analytic talk about why he or she is feeling that way. It's the person's in a reactive state. They're not going to have a good conversation with you. What you want to say is, oh, honey, yes, oh, honey. Just give them a soft place to land. Let them feel it's okay. I know you're upset. I know you're depressed. I know you're angry. I know you're scared. It's okay. I'm here. I'm here. Once your spouse, your friend, your associate, your kid, whoever it is, cools out, now you can have a conversation about what is that? You know, what made you feel so unsafe? What triggered that reaction in you? Is it true? What do you need? Here's how I felt. Here's what I need. Right? But when they're in the reactive mode, you're not going to have a very good conversation to resolve anything. You need to first take care of you, second, help them cool out, and then, when the time is right, to have that conversation. Am I answering your question, Dinesh?
Yes, thank you so much. It reminds me of the image in the airplane. They always tell you when the oxygen bag drops down, first you breathe, then take care of other people. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Now let me go. Sometimes it's not the other person, but there are things, and I think Carl Jung used to say, your subconscious and conscious, whenever there is a conflict between your subconscious and conscious, subconscious always rules, always prevails. So sometimes we get triggered for things nothing to do with other people. It is something inside us, and maybe a childhood memory, or maybe something in our subconscious, which triggers us and we lose total control. We are upset, we are angry, and we don't even realize what it is. So you have, what can we do to really try to understand that subconscious, try to go deeper and try to understand our trigger points, especially in these times when we want to be very cool and calm and not get involved in unnecessary provocative arguments and reaction with other people. What would be your advice?
Yeah, I do a few things. One of them is I teach the Enneagram, which is personality styles, which tells you how your subconscious is actually working, how your personality is working. And that's important to know. I know, for example, I'm a giver. I can overgive. And if I overgive, then I'm going to get annoyed if somebody doesn't appreciate me. Right? So yeah. It's not about that person has to fix themselves. No, it's about me coming back and not getting into that mode of overgiving, Okay, so the first thing is understanding your personality type. The second thing is to peel the onion, meaning you say, okay, I'm an overgiver. Okay, so why is that important to me to overgive? Oh, it feels good. I like to help people. Okay, easy. And why is that important? Oh, well, I like to help people because I believe we're all connected. We're one. Okay, easy. Why is that important? And what you do is you keep peeling the onion, peeling the onion, peeling the onion. Now, I've done a lot of work on myself. If I go back to what that's about, it's because I want to be liked. Why do I want to be liked? That's my conditioned mind telling me that's the thing, that being liked, being approved of, fixing things, that's how I got along in my childhood, right? But I don't need to do that anymore. But every once in a while, boom, I'll find myself there again. Easy, come back to center, let it go. So when I talk about the self-awareness piece, that's about peeling the onion. Keep going. Why is this important to me? Why is this important? Why is this important? And what you will get is the core belief, the worldview, the root of why you're operating that way. And once you find it, then you say, is it true? How's it serving me? Or isn't it serving me? You can make another choice. Doesn't mean you'll never have that again. You'll never react that way. Yeah, you will. But now you caught it. You know, it's like the con man, you know, with the cups and the rock and blah blah blah, and you know they play the game. After a while, you learn what the con is, right? So you don't do that game anymore. But the mind keeps conning you. Once you have to know what the con is, and then you go, no, I'm not gonna buy into overextending myself. I've been there before. I'm not going to do that one. Easy. Come back to center. A much nicer person, much better person once I come back to center, you know? So that's quick suggestions for you.
Well, thank you very much. And now this program and the Wellness Support Group, we are encouraging people to learn about best practices, which I think you shared quite a few today, and also to change their habits. Now, I know that you are a personal change coach. So when people are trying to change their habits, let's say I'm able to ask these questions and get to the bottom, and I figured out my limiting belief or figured out what triggers me. Now, how do I change it? Because change is very, very difficult, and whatever emotions lies. In fact, people say it's emotional eating, especially sometimes when we are feeling lonely, we are feeling upset, we go out to our refrigerator and pull out something. Any habit which our emotions are causing, because emotionally we are feeling in a certain way, whether it's eating or procrastinating or not doing my exercise or any wellness practice which I already know, but I'm not able to do because I'm emotionally not capable. So
Yeah.
This is the state where I'm aware, but I can't change. So
that's a good question.
Okay.
Good question. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first part, yes, you get the self-awareness, but insight alone does not necessitate change, right?
Right.
Okay. So the second part is that presence, being in the body. But here's a universal law. When there's a lot of energy coming, here's 50 volts of energy coming. I'm operating as a 20-volt person, right?
Right.
So here's the exercise program that I got to do. It's a 50-volt program. I'm 20 volts. It starts coming into my system. I'm going to say, I don't want to. I'll do it later. You know, I'm not into it today. I call it the 180-degree turn. You know, when I was a young woman, there'd be a great guy that I wanted to date. And he asked me out and I'd be so excited. And then the day of the date, you know, just before the evening, I'd go, oh, I don't feel like going out. I feel like just reading a book. I'm not in the mood. That's the 180-degree turn. I learned not to believe it. What I learned to do was to become a 50-volt person. Here's this 50 volts coming in. I need to become more spacious. So if you would for a moment, if I could, if you would just contract your body really, really tight, ooh, really tight, energy tight, muscles tight, everything tight. And now breathe out, radiate like the sun, 360 degrees around you, become spacious. Feel that spaciousness. That level of presence allows that 50 volts to come into my system easily. My capacity has increased. But if I'm holding myself like this, of course, when more comes into my system, I'm going to feel pressure and I'm not going to want to do it. The answer is to open and align to the incoming pressure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, again, anyone has any questions, they can raise their hand or they can go to the chat box. And I think the question people often ask me that, I am doing everything I can, but it's the other person. He is not doing or she is not doing what they're supposed to do. And I think it's easier for us to see what's wrong or the fault in others. What do you suggest? Because when I get focused on the other person, then it raises my anger, and then I begin to get upset, and pretty soon I have a conflict. So how do I handle that when I'm feeling the other is really wrong and I'm right?
I really learned in life that everyone and everything is a teacher if I have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And that when I point a finger at you, there are 3 fingers pointing back at me. So I see a quality in you that I don't like. You're judgmental, making this up. You're judgmental. Okay. Am I judgmental? Now, maybe I'm not, you're judgmental this amount, and maybe I'm judgmental this amount, but I'm still judgmental. My learning is to take a look at my own judgments and to let them go. So you become my teacher. I fix me. See, I can't fix you. I'm a psychotherapist. And when I get clients and a coach, executive coach, if I get a client there who doesn't want to shift, there's nothing I can do about it. And I got a lot of ways to play with people. I'm pretty good at what I do, but if you don't want to, nothing I can do, but I can change me. And when I change me, if you're my spouse, my daughter, my business partner, it's going to have an effect on you.
So, Amy, in a way, if you recall, both of us have worked with Peter Block, who is the author of Empowerment and several books on empowerment. And I think one question, I think you just reminded me, one question that had a major impact on my life when I was with him, he asked this question that whenever you are having a conflict, ask this question: how have I contributed to the situation where I find myself in? And that was a wonderful question, because then, and I think what I have learned that it's not that other person is not at fault or the other person is not contributing to the problem. Absolutely, it takes 2 sometimes to contribute to a problem. But from a resolution point of view, there is not much other person can do. He's in his own space and he's got his own beliefs and his own mind. There is something I can do. And if I find that the actions I was contributing, then I can certainly change them. And by changing those actions, the whole situation will change. But it also sometimes means that you have to make some tough choices and you have to draw your boundary lines. Empowerment does not come without boundary line. But when you love someone, how do you draw those boundary lines? It's not easy. And what is your process of drawing the boundary lines and taking responsibility on your shoulders?
Yeah. We all have different personalities, different ways of going about stuff. So we learn, our teachers, our parents, our religious leaders teach us to love others, right? That's a good person. We love others. We take care of others. What they don't teach us is self-love. They might have taught us narcissism, selfishness. Oh, the world is tough and we got to take care of ourselves and the heck with anybody else. But what I'm talking about is true self-love, recognizing the uniqueness of my being, that only Amy is Amy, only Dinesh is Dinesh, right? So there are times when I first have to honor me. This is my truth. Here are my boundaries. I'm not doing it to hurt anybody, but this is my truth. I am being authentic with you. That's my gift to you. You can always count on me to tell you the truth, to have integrity. You might not like it, but I don't have to take on your stuff to help you. I can stand in my own truth. And you can meet me part way, halfway. If I'm doing this and you're doing this, I'm sorry, I don't know whether you can see, but if I'm extending myself so much and you're only coming out a little bit, it's not going to work. Both partners have to be committed. You have to be able to come together to have that kind of honest conversation.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now, so I have now kind of understood my boundary line where I want to go, and self-love is very important because so there is a kind of a balance which I need between self-love and my love for other people. And as I'm balancing that out, I also have to be very proactive whenever I have a trigger point coming than all the practices you have shared today. So really recall them in that moment, and using those practices come back to the present moment. That will really enhance our emotional wellness and our ability to develop good relationships with all the people in our life. Now,
yeah, may I just say
sure,
one thing?
please.
When we're talking about self-love, it's not my ego.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking about self-love, the true self includes everyone because we're all this pure consciousness, right?
Right, right.
We all come from the same thing. So it includes that person, but I have to put my attention here first. That's why centering, grounding practices, stupid things like elephant feet and angel wings, those are the things that bring me here. When I'm here, I can create the boundaries and I can embrace the other with my energy.
Well, this has been a beautiful dialogue with practices of our emotional wellness. And now there are only a few minutes left, so I would like you to give any other advice in your book, Stress Less and Achieve More. Some of the key points which you would like to share, which people can, especially in Bay Area, the stress levels are very high. And what can people do to stress less and achieve more? What are the key points that takeaways?
Yeah, I would say you need to practice on the little things. You need, it's, things like when the mind comes and starts chattering, yeah, you can go cancel, make believe you're changing the channel, from the soap operas to Discovery Channel, right? That's a simple little thing you can do. But the real shifts, I'm interested in the really transforming, the real big shifts. The real big shifts for me are those things that I practice in little ways. So when I was learning this work, when I would notice that everything around me is a reminder. So for example, I would see the light pole. Oh, the light pole, up and down. Oh, I have an up and down in my own system. Can I sense, feel it? Or I'd notice the roundness of the lamp. Okay, the lamp has a roundness. Can I feel my circle around me, my own energy field around me? I just play with those things. I walk with angel wings. I walk with a dragon tail. I notice when I'm coming out of myself, I take a breath, I settle back in, I go with gravity. I mean, those are the things that made the big difference in my life. I am imprinting on my nervous system a new way of being. The other stuff for me is important, okay, stress, go take a break, go take a shower, go listen to music, all of that is great stuff. And the things that are going to make a difference in my life, because one day I maybe won't have a shower there and I might not have the music. I can't always be dependent on things out there. My own self-mastery is right here. Everything I need is right here. You just have to practice, practice, practice. First, you have to want it. You have to really want it. Then you got to practice it. Then you have to not forget it. A life lesson.
Well, thank you so much for this valuable information. I know, Amy, that you offer every Friday a meditation class or a mindfulness class, 1 o'clock your time and 10 o'clock Pacific time. Would you like, if anybody wanted to know more about your classes or the services you offer, would you like to share some information? What do you do in those classes?
Yeah, I put in the chat box my email, amy@openmindedventures.com. I'm accessible. So just contact me and I will send you the link. These are free meditations. And I should say I joined with a group of mindfulness instructors, and we're offering meditations 3 times a day. Some of them are MBSR. Some of it is mindful movement stuff like yoga stuff. Some is stuff for kids and families. And I do something on Friday at 1 o'clock, which is guided meditation, embodied meditation, just like a little bit of what I started giving you today. So it's free. Please come and join me. Tell your friends. Yes, that's great. I'd love for you to join me. The other thing is, if you're interested in learning more about this energy work, this is my book, Stress Less, Achieve More, and it's available on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or wherever you can, any retailer. The third thing is, if anybody is interested in coaching, wants to go deeper, please contact me. And also, for the women on this call, if you're interested, I'm starting a woman's mastermind and coaching group. Starts next Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, just for an hour every Saturday. And the idea is to take advantage of this evolutionary shift that's going to help you shift from who you are now to become a more effective, finer version of yourself. That's what I'm interested in. So anybody who's interested, just contact me. Or if you have questions, just contact me.
And I want to thank you again for taking the time to joining us today. And every time you are getting angry at your spouse, or you're getting angry at your colleague, or if you are reacting, take a deep breath. And now you have several practices. I love that elephant feet, Amy. That'll go with me. So just walk with the elephant feet and take a deep breath and come back to yourself, to your present moment, to this particular moment. And then once you have control over your emotional wellness, then I think you can be in a very good relationship with others around you.